welcome, and a fantastic little conversation today, which will be about effective communication in the doubles court. It's something that, and I'll introduce you to Will very shortly. Will and I hear time and time again in tennis clubs all around the world with tennis players of all abilities and all ages, and nobody trains you in effective communication. Yet we all spend many thousands of hours on court and hit tens and tens of thousands of tennis balls, but not one little dicky bird on effective communication. Will Boucek here, younger than me, more energy than me. I'd like to say I was wiser, but that may be a case in point. Will, tell us about your tennis pedigree.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on here. I've played tennis off and on most of my life. I played a lot when I was younger, didn't play as much in high school, then played at university, and took a few years off after that, and then started 3 or 4 years ago playing a lot more, mostly doubles here in Austin, Texas, where I live. And I'd never been really a doubles player. I'd always looked more like a singles player on the doubles court, which is still what I see with a lot of people.
Standard.
And I play a lot of USTA tournaments and leagues and things like that. And I started really kind of analyzing the way people are playing and becoming really interested in doubles strategy. So I started my own website called The Tennis Tribe and releasing doubles lessons, really that I was making for myself. And I shared them with people who I play with around Texas in the USTA community and just got really amazing feedback. And people were coming up to me during tournaments saying, "Hey, I love this lesson. It helped me so much. I've never beat that team and I finally beat them," and things like that. So it's been a lot of fun and it's grown a lot as well. So that's kind of where I am now, and I'm continuing to produce lessons on a regular basis. So really interested in doubles strategy and playing doubles a lot as well.
Because you rarely see doubles taught as team, in my view, either.
Mm-hmm.
It's
right.
Rock up, do your best, but essentially, one way or the other, you're still two individuals trying to play team as best you can, but you're not playing as team. Would that be fair from your experience?
Yeah, it seems like, and this was me for most of my life up until the last 4 years as well. It seems like most people will play singles, and then we're trained as juniors to play singles mostly. There's mostly a focus on singles, and then when we become adults and start playing doubles, it's more like two people who cover their own side of the court. And they're not playing together. And it's either your fault that we lost the point or it's my fault that we lost the point. It's not like our fault that we lost the point, right?
Well, that's such a profound thing to say because it's true.
Yeah.
Even if it's unsaid, it's either my fault or your fault. It's not us.
Right. Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. And let's get into some of this. Will you say a little bit about yourself as well?
Briefly. Yes. So, I was in Her Majesty's Armed Forces, Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst trained.
Mm-hmm.
And for years, it's always been more than a curiosity to me of what is the difference that makes the difference between people that invariably narrowly win and the others that invariably narrowly lose. It's all, as long as I can remember, like you've had your passion and hobby, that's been mine. Like, what's the difference of the 5%? And I was Army champion singles and doubles and a lifelong doubles, a student of doubles. And really what I brought into tennis is the military training about how to perform at your best under pressure and play as team. Because when you think about it, logically, the military is trained from get-go and everything, all the training is about performing under pressure because life or death, win or lose. Lots of action replays, no action replay. There's a tad more pressure there. And it's all about team. Just think, the military is all about team. So I've been studying and decoding what the military does and bringing it into tennis and specifically doubles. And there's a few things that we found out.
Right.
So yeah,
awesome.
That's it. And I'm still playing very competitively. And my partner and I won the armed forces over 45s, even though we were 20 years more than 45, having lost the first set 6-1 and 1-0 down in the second, and we'd only won a few points. There was like tumbleweed blowing through the crowd because it was so embarrassing. It was like, what are we going to say to these people? Because anyway, we turned that around and won. So
that's awesome.
So first thing we thought about was about exactly your point. How can we change the doubles court so that it's not your side and my side? You won the point, I lost the point.
Mm-hmm.
And you're working with Craig Shaughnessy, so he's got the stats that transforms the doubles court into our court. Yes. Right.
Yeah. Actually, working with him has been it's been amazing. It's kind of almost skyrocketed, my understanding of double strategy. So, he's got that image of the hourglass and how, most balls are played through the middle. One of the things that one of the early lessons that I started teaching myself and others was just stop covering the alley so much. And that kind of clarified it for me. But as far as playing together as a team versus two individuals, it really does come down to, like we've talked about, communication and being really on the same page and having a game plan on each and every point with your partner so that you know exactly what they're going to do, exactly what you're going to do to make the opponent uncomfortable and to finish the point yourself as a team. So that way we're not, just reacting, which is a term you've used, and the ball's on my side, it's mine. The ball's on your side, it's yours. Like, that's it. So that's kind of what it comes down to is that a lot of that communication and having a game plan and executing it. Yeah, and again, Craig talks about it. We talk about it. Is setup and spike. Mm-hmm. So people intuitively understand. It might even say setup and spike. But in my experience around the world, nobody practices setup and spike. They all do their best individual shot. Would you, again, comment on that? Right. Yeah. So the idea there is the player at the back, it's not their job to win the point. It's their job to set up the net player. So you'll see there's some people I'll play with who, their favorite shot is the down the line winner, right? And it's great, but you can only make, it's just a really low percentage shot. So you're better off, taking over that area above the middle net strap, continuing to hit cross court and set up your partner at the net, because it's just a much higher percentage play. And if you watch pro doubles on TV and things like that, you'll see some winners down the line, but it's maybe once every 3 or 4 games. It's really doesn't happen. And just to keep them honest, and the lob is just to keep them honest. That's all. So you do have a gap to aim for. Right. Exactly. Can I also chip in to say that the harder the person at the baseline hits the ball, the less the chance of his partner at the net being able to intercept. Right. Because obviously the harder you hit it, the easier it is for the volley. And then you're at the net trying to intercept and the ball is just whizzing back and forth. Yeah. You have to think about the speed and the angles and things like that. And that's really what I've tried to, and I'm still learning. I've tried to dive more and more into over the last several years. And it's really fascinating. It's almost like a puzzle once you get into it more. Mobile chess. Yeah. Mobile chess can be made very simple. I think that's a key message from today. Because again, I hear all around the world going, it's very complicated because he can do that and I can do that. And here's the options on this. And that's what happens when you play reactive, 2 people on the same court, tennis. Right. But if you play dictating play with a few patterns that you do all the time, then doubles is simple. It's straightforward. Yeah. Okay, so, what about communicating under pressure? Because, again, everybody communicates well when it doesn't matter. As soon as it matters,
you find people not communicating at all.
Right. Yeah. When you're winning, it's easy. You don't really have to say much to your partner.
It's
You
all
just keep
jovial.
playing.
Let's
Yeah.
pump hands. Yeah.
You're a better team. When you're losing, maybe you're mad and not talking to each other. I don't know, but it doesn't matter because you're losing pretty bad. But when it's those 50-50 matches, like you've mentioned to me before, where it can be the way you communicate or something you say to your partner that can be the difference in a match. And what I see a lot is, whether it's a tiebreaker or 5-all in the second set, on real pressure points, I see a lot of kind of common mistakes that people make. And one of them is, like we've talked about, playing individually. So if you lose a point and the ball's on your partner's side of the court, you're blaming them for losing that point, right? Oh, that's yours. You need to get that, something like that. And I see people actually say that. And it makes me wonder, are you more interested in having someone to blame if you lose, or are you more interested in actually winning?
Oh, it's a
So
profound thought. We have something that's, do you want to be right or do you want to win?
yeah, exactly.
Do you want ego to win or do you want to control ego?
Right. So a lot of people do that. They'll blame their partners. I see a lot of people also, if you're the better player on your doubles team, a lot of people coach and they do it the wrong way. Like they'll coach too much and confuse their partner and put tons of pressure on their partner and things like that. And I've actually got a whole blog post on my website on this, with like phrases that you should say and what I see most people say when they get it wrong. And it's it's a lot of blaming, a lot of coaching, a lot of come on, we need this, just spin your serve in, we need this. You're really putting a lot of pressure on your partner, and it's not helpful. So your language is very, very important. And also making sure that you actually do talk to your partner on those pressure points, rather than just if they miss a shot, you roll your eyes and then you move over to the next
well,
point.
the unsaids even have more pressure than the saids, don't they? Like cricket.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was watching a match I think it was a month or two ago at a tournament, and they were in a third set. They played a 10-point tiebreaker for the third set, and it was a women's doubles match, and this lady double faulted, and her partner at the net she kind of rolled her eyes and shifted over to the other side, never even said a word to her partner. And it's like, do you think her pressure is gonna rise or fall? Like, do you think she's gonna get more or less nervous if you don't even say a word, you roll your eyes, you don't even make eye contact with them? It's like, it's just crazy to me that you would do that. But
you said a couple of things that I just want to say two things too, and then I'm going to ask you a question. We can bring it to a close, and these two things might be helpful. So I have a kung fu master. He's been a kung fu master for 28 years, and before that he was training 10 hours a day for 12 years, and he's on my advisory team. And I was, and still a little bit, Mediterranean and hot-headed. And he came up with a phrase that stuck with me for a long time that says, Mark, winning or losing is like having a cup of tea, which means that the outcome is irrelevant and it's all about the process of during the point. And at the time I went, no, you don't really understand. I like pumping myself up, and what's the point? You're sucking oxygen from the brain. You're telling your opponent you don't really believe. It's all bravado. Winning or losing is like having a cup of tea, Mark. And that's always helped and stuck with me.
Right.
And the second thing that links with all that is that you are the source of everything. It's a very peaceful place to be. So if you think your partner, and you said it earlier, do you want to be right or do you want to win? Do you want ego to like show off, or do you want to control your ego? So if you're the source of everything, good, bad, or indifferent, it's a very peaceful, non-judgmental way to be.
Right.
Let me ask you a key question. Marks out of 10, how would you grade yourself as a communicator in doubles now?
out of 10, maybe like an 8 now.
Oh, well done. Where
I
were
think
you?
I think I've got room for improvement for sure.
Where were you
Oh,
before you started the studying?
probably like a 5 or a 6. I've never been a bad communicator because
Well done.
uh, I've always like gotten along with doubles partners and been pretty kind of easygoing.
Yeah,
Just
you sound easy. No, you sound easy, and I don't I sound. People say to me in my community, Mark, don't be so military and intense. I go, but I am military and I am intense, and you are much more laid back. We'd be good as a doubles team,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
we'd be great.
Um, I
But yeah,
think
I mean,
that's
there's
true,
always
actually,
room for
because if you're
improvement.
both relaxed and laid back, I don't think that's good, personally. And if you're both intense and stuff, I don't think that's good either. There's a bit of yin yang that would
Right.
be cool.
Well, a lot of it's also just like knowing your partner, right? So like I have some people I play with who don't want to hear much about strategy and stuff like that. They just need encouragement, right?
Yeah.
But there's some people I'll play with who want to hear like, okay, you serve wide and then, I'm going to move here at the net and then you come in and, and some people want to talk about those details and some people don't. So you have to
Oh,
really know that
wow.
about your partner to get the most out of them and get the most out of yourselves as a team as well.
Wow. Very good. So I would have graded myself about 4 or 5 in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'd give myself 7 or 8, with a lot of room for improvement.
Sure.
But I am a lot better. Just picking
Yeah.
up your last point, and then we'll probably close. Is that probably there are 4 different types of tennis player, and you need, even if you're then partnered with a stranger, you need to pick up the signs very quickly, because
Mm-hmm.
there's the social player that just plays for fun and laughs. There's the one that plays for fitness. There's the toughest one of all, which is the social competitive player. So you think they're competitive, but no, they're mainly social with a little, they don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's us, well, me anyway, that is competitive and gets all their joy and fun about competition. So if you win with any one of the other 3, in terms of communication and winning in doubles, you really got to pick, as you said, know your partner. Because if they're not up for winning and they're not competitive, then you're dragging a horse to water that doesn't want to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Any
Right.
points to close, Will? It's been fascinating, Mr. Laidback, Mr. Knowledgeable, Mr. Wise.
um, yeah, I mean, this is a really interesting and fun topic. I I don't know. I love going to tournaments and league matches and just watching doubles players and how they communicate because it's yeah, it's really fascinating to see how people have different styles and what works and what doesn't. So yeah, I mean nothing really to close, but I would encourage people to uh, check out some of the resources available out there and really kind of sit down and try to think about what can you improve specifically as a doubles player,
Yeah,
and train yourself. So
because it's where you can hit as many balls as you like in practice, but when it comes to tight 50-50 pressurized matches,
right.
it's all about the brain and communication.
Mm-hmm.
And when you
Absolutely.
think about it logically now, that you never train brain and communication,
Right. You have to turn the knowledge
why
into a
not?
skill. Yep.
Well, it's been enjoyable and fascinating. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
We
Mark.
need to put our heads together and come up with a training program for this.
Let's do it.
Okay. Thank you
Awesome.
very
Thanks, Mark.
much.
Bye.